Touchdown, Alabama, let's get it.
The process, no one can stop this. Hottest show in the streets, I bet you can't top this. Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this.
Recruiting news and interviews, just sit back and watch this.
The process.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome back into The Process, Crimson Tide Recruiting. I am your host, Justin Smith, the Director of Recruiting for Touchdown Alabama. Thank you guys so much for joining me today on our YouTube channel. The first thing I want and need you to do is hit that like button, hit the subscribe button as well. Subscribers, hit that notification bell so you can be notified when we drop content on our YouTube channel. We are coming off of A-Day weekend for the Crimson Tide. As you guys know who love Alabama football recruiting, you know it was a huge weekend for the Crimson Tide. Got several top targets on campus, including a lot of the guys we'll talk about on today's show. Of course, the Crimson Tide rolled out the red carpet for a lot of guys, and one guy in particular who they rolled out the red carpet for was four-star linebacker DeMarcus Riddick out of Chilton County High School in Alabama, who's one of the top linebackers in this 2024 recruiting class. But he's also verbally committed to the Georgia Bulldogs. The Crimson Tide are sort of a newer program in this recruitment because they only offered him a couple of months ago. But of course, Alabama has been evaluating him and have had some type of relationship with him before then, but they extended the offer to him actually a few months ago when he was actually already committed to the Georgia Bulldogs. But it looked as if the Crimson Tide are going to throw the kitchen sink when it comes to DeMarcus Riddick moving forward, with Nick Saban allowing him to ride with him on A-Day as they went to Denny Chimes for the annual captain ceremony, where the captains from last year's football team get an opportunity to cement themselves literally in on the campus of University of Alabama by Brian Denny, cement their handprint and also cement their cleat footprint. And it's usually a recruit who travels with Alabama's head coach Nick Saban every year, and DeMarcus Riddick happened to be that guy this year, and it's usually a top target for the Crimson Tide. So the Tide are making it clear, obvious that they want DeMarcus Riddick in Tuscaloosa in the future. When you look at Riddick's game, he stands at 6'2", weighs approximately 215 pounds, one of those athletic, hybrid, speedy linebackers that you just are going to want to have on your team at this particular point in time, when you just see how offenses are evolving and how much passing is part of college football now. You're going to need linebackers like DeMarcus Riddick, and he's a guy who, like I said, has speed, athletic guy. Not many linebackers like him who can return punts and take them all the way back to the house, go on the offensive side of football, get in the backfield, be a wide receiver, be an athlete all around the field. Like Riddick is definitely one of the more athletic linebackers in the 2024 recruiting class, and the Tide are going to continue to push for him really hard. They are not the only in-state program. Of course, the Auburn Tigers are going to try just as hard. In my opinion, I think Auburn is trying under their new head coach, Hugh Freeze, to completely lock down the state of Alabama. When you take a look at their recruiting class, I think majority of it, outside of one guy, who was coincidentally verbally committed to Alabama at one time, Martavius Collins, but Auburn's whole 2024 recruiting class is kids from Alabama, and I think that is why they're going after DeMarcus Riddick, also going after Alabama's four-star linebacker commit Sterling Dixon. But Riddick is a kid we're going to continue to talk about, I think, a lot over the next couple of months as he continues to work through his recruitment. Like I said, verbally committed to the Georgia Bulldogs, but the Alabama Crimson Tide and the Auburn Tigers are going to push extremely hard to keep him inside of the state. Another top Alabama target who was on the campus of University of Alabama over the weekend is Aaron Hampton, a 2024 four-star athlete out of Texas, who is set to announce a top 2 on tomorrow. He actually tweeted it and also posted to his Instagram story that he's going to cut his recruitment down to 2 programs on tomorrow. If you've been following this recruitment, your guess probably is Alabama and Texas, because he has an official visit scheduled with both programs. He also had an official visit scheduled with the University of Texas San Antonio. So we'll see how things shake out. In my opinion, if I had to make a guess, I would say it is going to be Alabama and Texas fighting it out in the end for the 4-star on wide receiver out of the Lone Star State, and we'll see what happens with Hampton on tomorrow. He's the guy who, like I said, has an official visit scheduled with Alabama for the month of June. We'll visit Alabama on the weekend of June 23rd. He's an athletic wide receiver who the Tide really like. Has played on both sides of the football in the past. A guy with a nice vertical slide wide receiver, dynamic athlete. A guy who can tie moves together, elusive in the open field. I think he's a guy the Crimson Tide really like in this 2024 recruiting class. I think you can call him a priority target, but he will drop the top 2 on tomorrow. You can stay updated on that over at touchdownalabama.com. Jordan Ross, the elite edge rusher out of Vestavia Hills High School in Alabama, was also on the campus over the weekend. And Ross, he's a guy who is pushing for 5-star status across the board. I think only one recruiting site at the moment have him listed as a 5-star recruit. But like I said, he visited Alabama over the weekend, had an opportunity to talk with Nick Saban, told me that the atmosphere was incredible. It was a great visit for him. He's a guy who just still seemed to want to try to get a better feel for the Crimson Tide. Similar to Riddick, he's a guy who Alabama is sort of new in his recruitment. He had offers from other programs a little bit longer than he had an offer from Alabama, so he's just still trying to get a feel for them. Their outside linebacker coach Coleman Hutzler, their defensive line coach Freddie Roach have continued to encourage Ross to just get back to campus as much as possible so you can get a better feel for the program. But he's actually locked in another official visit. Will officially visit Florida along with official visits that he has already had locked in with programs like Georgia, Texas, and Tennessee. So he has 4 official visits locked in. So the Crimson Tide are probably going to try to fight to get that last official visit, or at least get him on campus as much as possible. Like I always say, if you are an in-state kid, you don't directly have to take official visits to Alabama and Auburn. You probably can go to those programs as much as you can in terms of your visiting window. So I think that is something to keep in mind with Ross. But I do feel the Crimson Tide are a little bit on the outside of Ross's recruitment, if I had to say so myself. I feel like other schools have a little bit of an edge over them at this point. We'll see how things continue to develop with the Vestavia Hills product moving forward, though. As you guys watch A-Day, you saw how impactful the tight ends were for the Crimson Tide on A-Day on both sides, on both teams, crimson and white tight ends making plays. And that stood out to Louisiana tight end Travell Frederick, who actually earned an offer from the Crimson Tide earlier this month, but he returned to Tuscaloosa for A-Day, and he's excited to actually get back to Tuscaloosa to camp at Alabama, because like I say a lot, Alabama wants to see a lot of these guys camp. And I always say nothing beats in-person evaluations, get an opportunity to take them through your set of drills and things that you want to see them do. And he just wants to get back to Tuscaloosa and show Alabama that he is a complete tight end. His offer did come from Nick Saban, so he wants to show that he can be an inline guy, he can be a guy that can flex out wide, he can be a guy that can be a third tackle, if you will, and be a blocker, but he can also be a guy who you can flex out wide and he can make plays as a receiver in the receiving game. He actually verbally committed to the Tulane Green Wave at the moment, so we'll see how that plays out with Frederick. Really liking what he saw out of the Crimson Tide when it comes to the tight end position over the weekend. Julian Sand, Alabama's 5-star quarterback commit, was also in Tuscaloosa. Said it was a great visit for him getting back to Alabama. And like I said, if he got back to Tuscaloosa for AD, I think that's just a clear sign that he's locked in. He's rolling with the Tide. He has done everything but lock down his recruitment, in my opinion, with him getting back to Tuscaloosa so many times, with them being a California prospect, getting back to Tuscaloosa in a span of less than a month. I think that speaks volumes to the way that he feels about his commitment to Alabama. Had an opportunity to catch up with him and talk a little bit about some of the guys who's verbally committed with them, specifically the wide receivers who he will be throwing the football to in the future. Guys like Rico Scott, the 4-star wide receiver. Also Perry Thompson, a 4-star wide receiver who's pushing to be a 5-star prospect. Ryan Williams, who's undoubtedly going to be a 5-star consensus, 5-star anywhere you may look in the future. And he was in Tuscaloosa as well, but I had an opportunity to talk with Sam. He said he can't wait to get to Alabama to throw to all of those weapons. He feels that those guys are superstar playmakers, and he cannot wait to throw the football to them on Saturdays in Bryant-Denny Stadium. So at least right now, I think Crimson Tide fans should feel really, really good about Julian Sand's commitment. But the last person I want to talk about on today's show is London Merritt, a 2025 4-star defensive lineman out of Woodward Academy in Atlanta, Georgia. I want to talk about this guy because he had a lot of great things to say about Alabama, catching up with Nick Saban. When I asked him about his thoughts about Alabama. He's just described it in 2 words: GOAT status. So he's really high on the Crimson Tide at the moment. And another reason I want to talk about this kid, because I really love his film, man. He's just super explosive. I told him, I feel you're one of the more explosive defensive linemen I've seen on film, no matter which recruiting classes as of late. Just watch his film. Look how explosive this guy's get off is. He has seemed to consistently live in the backfield, and I really liked his film. That's one of the reasons I want to talk about him really quickly before I close out today's show. But he's high on the Tide after visiting them over the weekend for A-Day. But that is what I want to talk about on today's episode of The Process. Before you leave, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, subscribers, hit the notification bell so you can be notified when we drop content on our YouTube channel. Then head over to touchdowналabama.com, pick up your subscription today. With that subscription, you will be able to read all of our subscriber only articles. Then head over to the Google Play Store if you have an Android device to download the Touchdown Alabama app. If you have an Apple App Store, the app is located in the, if you have an iPhone or Apple device, the app is located in the Apple App Store. As always, I am Justin Smith, the Director of Recruiting for Touchdown Alabama.
Process.